why I even bring this up, because once I did get out of prison, I already had in my mind, I was ready for the relationship, the family, the wife.
Yeah.
And my perspective of women had nothing to do with physical beauty.
Yeah.
I need someone with character, and maybe it was a fault of mine, but pre-existing family. Like, she had to have some experience with home life, family, kids. I had lost so much time. So that's like me starting all over again to try to build a family and have to wait years to get.
Speaking on that, so you did 13 years.
Yep.
So, and you did a second bid.
Yeah, I ended up doing the second bid 2 years afterwards. So how that went was a month before I was to get parole, or less in parole.
Mm-hmm.
I got into a situation with a family member. They told me some information that I believed, and because it's family, I had no reason not to trust family. And the information ended up being bad. And me following along with it put me in a situation where, like, man, I had another man hold a 16 gauge shotgun at my head and say, "Hey, this ain't your shit." And I'm like, "Whoa, what are you talking about? This is, this is fam stuff right here. What are you doing?" Yeah. And being put in a situation like that and believing and trusting in family really fucked me up, So instead of fighting the situation, because of my background, I already had a strike. It was not a situation where I could have fought and won. For one, I'm not in the game anymore. I don't have all the assets that I may have once had. So trying to pay these people to represent me in a way that is physically capable, I couldn't do. I just couldn't do. And I had to suffer the consequences, so I had to go back. I didn't even fight it. I didn't even, I tried to get the best deal out of the situation as I could. And that took me out of my first biological son's life for 4 years. So within that 2-year period, I had a son.
Yeah.
And that was my priority. When that happened, I had to just deal with it.
How did that work on you mentally to do 13 years straight, get out, get a little piece of freedom, and then go right back for 4 years?
I mean, anybody who's been in prison had to deal with the faculty there and the guards or whatever saying to you, "Oh, you be back." You know what I'm saying? "Oh, you look like you'll be back," and to have to actually go out in society, do what you can do to try to not get there, and go back, that was devastating.
So the second time of you being locked up and you doing this 4-year bid,
right?
How did you prepare yourself to get out and not do anything to go back?
Well, I can really say that from the beginning, I had always had the intention of becoming the better me. So now, along with the fact that I've now been in society for 2 years, I know how hard it can get. I know what it takes to maintain myself. I'm fully prepared now. It was like a jump start, preceding the actual living part. Hey, I'm going to learn all this stuff, put it in the reservoir, try to figure it out. So next time, when I do hit this, hit them steps, hit them bricks, I'm good, and I'm never coming back. So it was probably the best in that case.
Yeah.
Not the fact that I was taken away from my family, because even though I was interactive, it was limited, and I can never take that back, the time that I missed with my kid. But I could prepare myself. I could prepare myself to the point where I know for a certainty these pit stops and pit traps are there so I can avoid them. And that's what I did. I put it in my mind, these are the things I need to do in order to maintain my freedom. Yeah. And I did it, and so when I got out the second time, the first time I got out, I immediately went back to school. I went to a private college. I went into my major at the time was computer system informations. Then I transferred and went to computer animation and simulation. So I was learning gaming, something that I had already had some experience with back in the 80s. And I mean, I did all I can do in that situation. I would have graduated the year before I went back to prison, but I didn't, because I went back to prison. That experience alone, just say, hey, well, you still got the opportunity to do what you did. I think when I came out, I was 33.
Yeah.
I went in at 18, came out in 33. Went back and let me see. Yeah, I went back for the 2 years. And when I come out the second time, I already had in my mind what it is that I have to do. So I went back into education. I went back to learn more.
Yeah.
I think I went into a course with, if I'm not mistaken, Focus Hope.
Yeah.
Focus Hope. They taught at the time this class called CNC. And CNC is nothing but a technical version of how to program computers that make parts.
Yeah.
All right. So I went into that, and I already had in my mind that I wanted family. And so I jumped from how I viewed women back then. They didn't have to have fat ass and big tits to be woman in my view.
They could be uncomfortable.
It could be whatever. Mm-hmm. You was a woman. You had the characteristics that can satisfy man. Yeah. It doesn't matter what your body type is, as long as you satisfy man. Yeah. And so I found my wife.
So your story is very interesting, and it's common in our community. Would you say the environment that you were raised in had a lot to do with how you ended up in prison?
Yes and no. It's ambivalent, and the reason why I say that is because I wasn't raised in a criminal household. My family never taught me criminality.
Me neither.
What was more influenceable to me was the streets. Mm. It's not because of the lack of thereof in my family, in my household. It's because that was my choice and my decision.
Do you think if you had more positive role models in your life that you still would have dived in the streets?
That's a very hypothetical situation.
I just think so I say that to say, like, yes, we can all like sometimes we come from backgrounds where nobody in your home so dope, but at the same time, in some of these families, it wasn't enough positive role models that were hands on.
Yeah, so I will add to that, man. I can't say definitively that my family played a role. My family wasn't a family of criminals. My environment definitely was to a point, but it was always based on a decision that I made. Just because I was raised in a impoverished type of situation, there's plenty of people who have stories likened to mine, but yet still chose to do different things. And as it regards to influences, I mean, I had uncles and aunts that were pimps and hoes, and that never played a part in my life because I wasn't a pimp, nor was I a hoe.
Yeah.
So it was more immediate. And it was me thinking more of family and me thinking more of what could I do to lighten the load, where my family I didn't have to be a dependent for so long.
Yeah.
They was already struggling. Why would I want to make them struggle even more when I'm capable? And I found my way through the streets.
No,
But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying not only did I find my way through the streets, I still had the wherewithal to work as well.
Yeah.
I think I got my first job when I was 14, as no homos, a police cadet.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with being a police cadet, bro.
You know, as I said, no homo. But anyways, yeah. So I patrol Palmer Park. That's why I said that. That's why I said that.
Hard pause.
Very, very, very hard pause. No offense, but after that, I started getting jobs back to back.
Yeah.
Even though I was grinding and doing some hustling, I always had a job. So I always had a mind of I can do both things together, integrate them, and it wouldn't seem so out of the ordinary for me.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes if it were more positive role models in our lives that were more hands-on, that maybe we wouldn't have took the path that we did. Now, some of us, me personally, I didn't grow up in a home where anybody did crime at all, but I also didn't have that male figure that kind of had their hands on me to kind of guide me in the right direction. So I kind of think in certain situations, mentors or just positive black men in these kids' lives will help them out a lot more.
I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. I had a role model in the form of my uncle. My uncle was like 8 years older than me. He was in the household as well. And if I get any quality from him, it's to work hard. He's always been a hard worker. And that's something that is instilled in me. And I'm a hard worker. Yeah. Like I will work to the bones show. And I'll lose sleep just to get a job done. And that's him. That's his quality. So I do agree with you that we had there been more influential people on a positive side there, it could have helped. Yeah. My auntie was a very independent woman, and she instilled independence in me. She didn't have to ask for anybody to do anything for her, and that kind of relayed over into me where I, as I am who I am right now, I don't ask anybody for nothing. If I want something done, I do it myself.
Yeah. I think the problem all stems down to a lack of guidance and not having enough resources. So us as black men, we kind of need to step our game up and get out into the community and help these kids out.
Okay, I agree. not just the green, have you played any active roles per se, you,
Yes.
in doing such?
Yes.
Could you explain?
I started a nonprofit called Creative Juices. It's kind of in the beginning stages. It's geared towards helping black teens in the inner city of Detroit. We're helping with teaching financial literacy, trades, taxes, even how to eat to live instead of just eating all types of bullshit.
Right.
I've also picked up young men to teach them the electrical trade. I've trained about 3 kids so far. Do I need to do more? Yes, but yes, I have started to play that role.
That's great. And I think that from what you say, that influence alone will carry to at least the people that you're dealing with now,
Yeah.
and hopefully that
Yeah.
cycle begins.
Yeah.
And if they suffer any type of negative environment, negative influence from whatever household that they may be in, what you do counteracts that, and helps them to exceed beyond their circumstances.
Yeah, I feel like they need that big brother. You know, they need somebody they can go to when they feel like they don't have a way out. You know, they need somebody to reach out to, maybe throw them a financial blessing or throw them words of wisdom.
Right.
The smallest gestures can help people out in their time of need.
Right. I understand. So after getting out of prison the second time,
Yep.
I had a plan. And that plan was to continue education for sure, to be financially independent, and to be able to start a life.
Yeah.
And so I already had my idea of who I wanted as a woman, and again, it wasn't a part of body or anything. It wasn't
a BBL.
right. It wasn't a BBL. It was to meet those certain qualifications that I felt. And it's not the dominant side that I'm speaking about. It's more, I needed a helpmeet. And if that person fulfilled those roles as a helpmeet, that would get me to the next level. I wanted to do as much as that my ex-wife could do for me.
Yeah.
And that didn't end up well, but that's another story. That's another story, bro. But anyways, it was the East Side girl.
I can tell you don't want to touch.
No, man, the East Side, bro. The East.
Would you like to break down?
Listen.
East Side
I'm
girl?
not.
I really don't like how you put a side to it,
bro.
She could have just been your girlfriend.
Bro,
it's
I mean,
you're putting a negative connotation on it by saying my East Side.
So I have to set boundaries, right?
Okay.
Like, even though I ain't into the territorialism and East Side against West Side, but I got to indulge every once in a while. And so the ratchetness of East Side, the I don't know, the whatever they dubbed this side. I mean,
like to call
it might have had some play in this case. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool. I'm good. We over it. Everything was amicable, and
y'all still smooth. Y'all cool.
Could have been, but it is what it is. I ain't. I tried to adopt the East Side, but it's not about adopting the East Side.
It didn't work out.
It is what it is. But we good. We good. We all Gucci.
All right.
We Gucci.
So
me having the idea of family, education, goal setting, I was rolling out. I was trying to do what I had to do, and overall, it's been a success. I had my pitfalls. I went through divorce when it came to education. I actually excelled and got achieving degrees.
Yeah.
And it was just a matter of leveling up now. Now, hey, I can put that past behind me. Even though the past never stays in the past when it comes to proving your worth and showing your capabilities to others.